Hey toy fans, D21 Beast Rob here, back with another figure review for you guys here today. And today we're looking at the Red Skull Build-A-Figure series Captain America Wave Marvel Legends Whirlwind figure released by Hasbro in 2016. Now if you're not familiar with Whirlwind, he did first appear in what I can only assume is a retcon backstory as Charles Matthews, aka the Human Top, appearing in the pages of Tales to Astonish number 50, created by the legendary Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Becoming a regular thorn in the side for Avengers such as Ant-Man and the Wasp, this spinning mutant would eventually become known as Whirlwind in the pages of Avengers number 46, created by Roy Thomas and John Buscema. It would also be revealed around this time that Whirlwind's alter ego was now David Cannon, not Matthews. If you're like me, however, and grew up watching Marvel cartoons in the 90s, your introduction to this character likely took place while watching the Iron Man animated series on Fox's Marvel Action Hour on Saturday mornings. In fact, it's actually my affinity for that cartoon that got me very excited when I saw this Whirlwind figure revealed at New York Comic Con last year. But before we take a look at the figure inside, let's look at the packaging this figure comes in. As I mentioned previously, we do still have that Red Skull Build-A-Figure emblem in the upper left. We have that new Legend Series logo there at the top. We've got a window box packaging that does house this figure inside as well as his Build-A-Figure piece. And then towards the bottom we do have that Captain America logo replacing the Marvel Legends logo that we're used to seeing on this packaging. And finally, Whirlwind is identified as the Forces of Evil. He actually shares packaging with Cottonmouth from this same wave. As you come down the back of the box, we do have the Marvel Legends logo in the upper left and the bio for the figure off to the right. We do have an image of Cottonmouth and Whirlwind pictured on the back of the packaging. We've got the Red Skull Build-A-Figure emblem one more time, and then we do have a complete lineup of all the figures available in this wave, as well as what their pieces combined to create. We've got Red Onslaught off there to the left. Alright toy fans, well that's the packaging. Let's say we get this Master of Evil out of the box and see what he's all about. Alright toy fans, here we have Whirlwind out of the packaging, and would you believe it's been over a week since I filmed that first part of this video? If you're wondering where I've been, and my thoughts on New York Toy Fair 2016, definitely check the link to my vlog below this video, or even check the card swinging out up here. But back to the Whirlwind figure at hand. This is a pretty awesome looking Marvel Legends if you ask me, if a bit simple. It does reuse the body mold that we saw originally with Grim Reaper and with the Kraven figure from last year, and if I had to compare the three, I do feel like Kraven's getting the most out of this mold. Taking a look at the figure up close, you can see we do have a nice piercing stare coming through the helmet of the figure. The paint has actually been applied very cleanly to the eyes, which is nice. We have the sculpted lips there inside the helmet as well. It's just a solid piece of green plastic, as it should be with the horns coming off. And I like that there's sort of a green pearlized plastic effect, or used for this figure rather, in the molding process. I think it does the figure quite well. They tried to match a paint here on the torso. It mostly works for the helmet. And then another matched paint here on the waist. Otherwise, it's green molded plastic for the trunks and the boots. And otherwise, the figure's largely just silver. He's got silver molded on the legs, silver for the torso, and again with that green paint on top, silver molded for the arms. We have green paint applied to the wristbands here. Flesh-colored plastic for the hands, and I like that these saw blades are actually removable, so if you wanted to, you could pretend like he's throwing them at a villain. Which I have to admit, I don't remember him ever actually doing in the comic books. But hey, at least he looked menacing, right? One thing I have to note about the shoulder joints on this Whirlwind figure, and special thanks to Rektangular for pointing this out, link to his channel below this video, you'll see here that it is a very tight joint. So when you're moving the figure up and down, not only is it going to be really hard and you kind of have to use some extra force, which almost feels a bit uncomfortable when you're trying to pose this figure, it does actually tend to kind of chip into the joint of the figure just a little bit on the top and the bottom. So I wish that they would actually address this in future figure releases. Grim Reaper had the same issue. Kraven was supposed to have the same issue, but my Kraven actually fared pretty well, and I don't really have issues moving his shoulders around. They actually look pretty nice still. But with the Whirlwind figure, I'm definitely getting that sort of chipping going on with the shoulder on the top and bottom, and it is a bit disappointing. Articulation-wise, Whirlwind has a head that'll look left that far and right that far, moves back not so much, down just a little bit. He's got forward rotation here at the shoulder, but again, it is a bit tight. He can move out from the body that far, down, oh come on, only about that far. Forward rotation here at the bicep, double jointed elbow. You can remove these saw blades and his wrist will turn all the way around, bend back that far, bend down that far. Ab crunch, it bends forward that far, bends back pretty far actually. Forward rotation at the waist, hips move forward that far, move back about that far, out from the body that far. Upper bicep swivel, he's got a double jointed knee, and then he has a rotation that's a bit tight here at the boot, there we go, and a foot that'll bend down that far, back that far, and has that Hasbro ankle pivot. So articulation is pretty good on this figure. The only complaint that I could have about him is that his head doesn't move as much as I would like, but that's more to do with the costume design and not so much on Hasbro's end. And honestly, in this case, with as faithful as this costume design is to the comics, I don't mind it. Height-wise, we can see that Whirlwind does stand just a little bit over 6.5 inches tall. For some size comparison, here he is compared to the 6-inch scale Marvel Legends Infinite Series Wolverine. Excuse me, huh?
I guess we're done here. Were we keeping you from something, bub?
No, it's fine. I just had a spin class.
A spin class?
That's right. It's my favorite exercise.
Have you ever tried dance aerobics? Gene really likes Zumba.
Actually, I prefer the twist.
Somehow that doesn't surprise me. I'm afraid to ask, but do you have a favorite movie, bub?
Yes. I can never remember the name of it. It's that one with Bill Paxton. Tornado, I think?
Close enough. Look, is there anything you're into that doesn't involve a spinning pun?
Now that you mention it, I hear The Bachelor's pretty popular. Perhaps I'll give it a whirl.
Please go home.
Certainly. Shall I go one way or round trip?
Why?
Alright, toy fans, well, that's my review of the Marvel Legends Whirlwind figure, part of the Red Skull Build-A-Figure wave released by Hasbro in 2016. Overall, I've got to say, despite his simplicity, I do really like this figure. And granted, my opinion may be a bit influenced by my love of the 90s animated series, but I think this is a really fun Marvel Legends to add to your collection. I am a bit disappointed about the shoulder joints on this figure, and sadly the more I pose him around, the more shavings I have coming off the ball joints. That's an issue that Hasbro seriously needs to look at. But at the end of the day, this is a really fun Marvel Legends figure, and while I personally may be gaga for him, I do encourage the rest of you out there to pick him up, if you can find him on sale. Well, thanks for watching this review, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below. Did you watch the 90s Iron Man animated series? If so, what was your favorite episode? If you guys like what you saw here, do me a big favor and give this video a like and be sure to share it with your friends. As always, you can always keep up with me on Twitter and Instagram at D21Beast, and I'll see you guys next time.